Alright YouTube, back again with another market analysis for the London session. Did have some nice movement today in the US session. A lot of speakers came up, a lot of talking, and a lot of things that moved the markets in a lot of different directions, up, down, sideways, and you got a lot of opportunities for entries today. So we're going to go over some opportunities that we'll probably be looking for during the London session. Let's take a look at this S&P 500 10 tick. For now, we'll go over that. Then we'll be reviewing oil and also gold together as well. We want to look at some things here on the 10 tick together. We can see some slight resistance coming in into 44.25. You can see how the market is gradually climbing into that area right now. So we haven't really broken any structured levels. You can see we have a slight impulse here to push up, right? And we're taking a look at some major levels right now up on this 10 tick, right? We're not trying to do anything crazy, but just identify what we could be looking at when we look at this. So as far as trades are concerned, what we could be identifying. So we had this level as some support, came the resistance. Again, was a resistance 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6, 7 times before we finally broke through. Right, and when we are identifying this together, we can see that the market is continuing to make higher lows and higher highs within this micro movement, right? You got an impulse to create that push higher. So tonight on the London session, two opportunities of trades. Right, we could come back and we can hold these 23s as support, and if we do hold that impulse, then we'll probably continue up from there. Now if we break through, we do want to see this level of 30.1075, also a major level that could be support at one point. But first initial level to break 23, and then we'll try to gradually pull down into the 1075. And if we break below that level, then we're definitely going to have some decent size to drop off down into these 2980s and 2960s below, and maybe a little bit lower than that, just depending on if we have any other levels below. But if you want a long opportunity, really got to hold that 23 as support. If not, then we're going to be coming back down to the 10, and then we would have to hold that structured level as support for us to assume that we might continue up from there. Right? But if we don't, we definitely will see some more downward movement. Let's take a look at what a 4 tick would look like as well on the S&P 500. Give you guys a closer view of what we'd be looking at tonight. So we're right in this box here, and this could be played out. Given that we have a lot of volatility, we could see this play out a lot sooner than the London session, but we should be around the same general areas. And if not, then we'll just redo the analysis again together. But we did have that push. You can see where we're highlighting on the 10 tick, that impulse to break up, and we are getting that resistance. Now it'd be foolish for us to try to take short opportunities given that we're right at that level of resistance and we're continuing to make higher lows. Right, so we took some good opportunities prior to this. Right, when we zoom out of this chart, we can see continuation to make higher lows, and then we continue to get opportunities to the upside right around these areas. So we break a level of resistance, market continues higher, market breaks another level of resistance, finds this area here to follow our two rule trend reversal type of trade, and we get an opportunity to take the market to the upside as we continue to make higher lows. So want to pay attention to that. Now again, we do have highlighted the same areas. A more recent fade of momentum is going to be break the 23s, try to hit the 1075s, and a real structured push to the downside is going to be once we break these 1075s. We're going to more than likely start to see this thing collapse lower, right? So we're going to see something like that break through, try to retest these levels, maybe even try to pull as high as somewhere right around here at this peak, right? And then get an opportunity to look to short. Now if you want that long, you got to see the structured support come in here as well, right? So let's move this over for a second. You would have to see something along the lines of come back down, hold this level with some support rotations, let that price action bounce around, and then take another opportunity to the upside, right? So that's what we want to see on our long to break that level of 34, right around there, or maybe even as high as like 30. I think that's like 37, 38, these little peaks right here. Break through that and then try to get to the 40 to 44 area is the idea of trade for the long if you want to try that. All right, but anything below this 23, I would want to see if I'm going to play a more shorter term. If we break through that, again, you can have that momentum shift back to the 10, right? If we can't break this 1075, again, you're going to see some holds of rotation, price action movement, and then you're going to get the opportunity to look for a long. But you can take it from here for the the higher reward to risk versus taking it right at the top. But you can try that with stops a little bit underneath, right there maybe, or you can wait for the market to pull back above that structured peak right there, and then rotate and give you the opportunity to go ahead and try a long there, right, to try to break the upside. That's however you guys want to do that. That's how you would try to look for some trade opportunities there. That's what I'm going to be doing here on the London session, and if it happens before then we'll do it on the Asian session. Let's take a look at gold as well. Pop up this 10 tick on gold so you guys can see we have some structured resistance coming in on the 10 tick. We did pop as high as, let's say, we did push through, hit 1654 and came right back down against this resistance. So want to note, we are continuing to make higher lows, right? We're in an uptrend. We're continuing to make higher lows. This low is clearly higher than that one, right? And this high is clearly higher than that one there. So we want to be able to pay attention to that too. Can the market come down? Yeah. Do we know where we would be able to find some support? Yes. It's going to be somewhere right around this general area where we have the green box, or a little bit higher, somewhere right around here at 38 to 40, right? So that would be our area to look to touch for some support, right? And because we're holding a level on, because we're holding structure here, also on gold too, we might even see, let me see, hold on, I might be in the wrong area. Yeah, because we're holding structure, because we're holding some structure here, we might be able to see another move to try to attempt that resistance again. I'll show you guys on a 4 tick as we move this over. You guys could see, even if we draw an arrow, the continuation to hold these higher lows right at this area right there is what we're looking at right now, right? So we may be able to see another push into the upside there. Let's take a look at what it looks like on a 4 tick for you guys. So got some closer levels to look at here on this 4 tick, but you guys can see even the same thing. Drew that arrow, sticks the same, right? And you have a pull all the way down to a structured level, right? We didn't break it. We continue to make higher lows, and this is why we would see an upside move on gold versus a downside move, because we continue to respect these levels, right? We continue to respect higher lows, and we more than likely may see a push right back into the resistance before it determines whether it wants to go higher or lower, right? And if we get that opportunity, and we don't, or if we don't get the opportunity into that level, then we'll probably look for maybe another opportunity right at 48, or maybe even a higher at 54. Depends on how we get the price action movement there. So that's kind of what we're waiting on right now. Waiting to see if we get those 43s to hold, and then push to the upside there. Let's take a look at oil as well. In fact, before we go any further, let's see what the studies are showing us as well, right? Let's take a look at some of these studies. Throw these studies here and hide the studies, and let's view them just a little bit before we do anything. You see we touched that pivot right there, right at that pivot, and again we're making higher lows. Everything's underneath the VWAP, the moving averages, still holding this thing as some support, right? So when we collapse, we might collapse through the moving averages into the VWAP, and we might even break that structured 1075 through that actual VWAP to try to take a short opportunity if we get that, right? Let me actually pull up a 4 tick too, so you guys can see what that would look like on a 4 tick as well. This might tell you a little bit of different stuff. I like to use both for some type of indication, but if I'm looking for a shorter term, I like to use this 4 tick, right? You can see the moving average is starting to really wrap around to give you resistance, just like that pivot, and that could indicate that what S&P wants to do is try to pull down into 23 and then 1075, break that structured support line coming in, or trend line, and try to retest that VWAP down below, right? And if that's the case, then we'll see some upside here on gold as well to retest the resistance. Let's go ahead and look at gold, the 4 tick, and you can see, let's see what gold is telling us here with the rest of the studies, right? You got a VWAP overhead, but you got some of the moving averages coming underneath, which could be a little bit confusing, but Usually gold likes to test VWAPs, and given you're holding the structure, you're trying to break through that point of control. You see a very thin volume coming up between 46.6. So we might start to see the market continue to hold this level and press up through that VWAP. You just want to know where you're at. You're in the middle of that range, that value area right there. So it might be a little bit choppy before you get your move in the direction, but given you're holding the actual structured movement within all of this and a higher low for a continuation up there, that could be it. That price action is important to know before you move on to following indicators, and other things that might help add an edge to your trading. All right, so let's go ahead and hide this. Let's take a look at also oil. Oil, you can see we got some resistance up above. All right, and I think even oil looks like it's starting to get a little bit weak. Right, but want to be able to identify what's actually happening. Let me put this for a second. I don't know why I can't move it over because, well, I don't have that there. Let me actually put this off. So show scroll bar. There you go. So I can move it over just a little bit. You can see we're starting to get a little bit weak. The real opportunity on oil is going to come once you start to break this structured movement. You guys can see how you're getting, well, you clearly got a break of a prior peak, and you're getting a higher low from that area, right? So you want to see this market break through that, right? Break through that area right here, come back, and then retest that downside of support, right? And we might end up doing that as we start to collapse a little bit lower. So we'll watch out for that. All right, if we don't get that, then we're going to still respect that movement to the upside as long as we hold this level right here. And I'll identify it with you guys right now with that horizontal line, 47.67. As long as we hold this level right here, we might see some more upside. But if we break through it, again, you're going to see what I like to call a momentum fade opportunity to press to the downside of the prior impulse. All right, so again, we found some resistance in this level, and we're holding a little bit of a structured micro movement to the upside. So we'll watch that. That's more of a watching opportunity than it is a trading opportunity. And when we can see some breaks of something, or a hold of structured support, then we'll take an opportunity for a trade from there. Right? So you can see some more recent movement in this price action movement here. Let's see, scroll over to the right, and you can see why we identified that, because we're still holding that micro move to the upside. So we broke up, started to hold some strength here as support, dipped a little bit, found some buyers coming in. Right, big money found out market wants to continue up and got that opportunity. So again, that structure level of support right here, 47.67. Want to break that floor right there and come back down into the support, right? So let's take a look at what we're seeing with those studies here as well, and hide the studies, and you can see everything starting to wrap over with that. What is that actually? That's the overnight high above. We tried to reach that R1, didn't necessarily get there yet, but again, we'll need that structure to break, and when we get that structure broken, we are going to look out for opportunities from there. But right now, if you're trying to take any type of trade to the downside, you're fading it, right? Because you have higher lows still continuing up, right? So you want to really see this come back down. Yeah, again, so you don't want to see, you don't want to try to short it right at this support here, but instead you want to wait for it to break below and then take the opportunity short. If not, you're going to watch some rotations. If we can hold support, then we might try to retest the upside again. So that's kind of what we're waiting out on, team, this break of that trend line there, and then the hold the support or the breakthrough, and you're going to see a good opportunity really when you get that breakthrough, because you're going to come back, into the VWAP. As you come back into that VWAP, you're going to get an opportunity to short that down below. It's going to be probably a really good opportunity to try. You can try to take it off at the pivot and for some lots, and then try that downside again. But yeah, that's what we got for S&P 500, oil, and gold. If you guys did like this, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. For all those that have subscribed and followed, I appreciate everything. Thank you guys for watching the videos and leaving comments. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us at TRADEPRO Academy. And if you guys got any questions too, you can always just pop them here in on the YouTube, and I will respond back to you guys. You guys take care. Have a good night.